You're good with that?
Yeah.
All right. Cool. And I see it. We're live. And let's just give Rabbit Hole a listen.
Yeah.
All right.
Do you know how I sit in silence every day, wishing leaves would blow away? But there's no wind in this goddamn hole. Look at me now. I'm a shining star. I'm perfect. If you want it, come and get it. Last time officially torn to bits. Let's make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. Two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. There are many holes you can't fill. There are many doors you can't run through. There are only cracks I keep falling down. Don't stumble now. I can't let anyone catch me running on unsteady footing. There's always time for questions later on. So it's swords up, shields out. Cue heroic stance time. When's bravado stop being a lie? Feeding back on mirrors, screaming. Let's make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. Two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. If two lefts make a right. What is this? Where am I? Don't just lead you down deeper. Where is this? Where is this?
Yeah. Thanks. Well, yeah. So Throwaway started around like 2014. The oldest song on this record is, I think, the one we're listening to next, Julep, which I wrote like winter 2013. So all these songs were kind of written between that and then up to, I guess, like mid 2017. So you have a kind of mix of songs, sort of like fresh when I was uh, fresh out of college and trying to figure out what having a degree in jazz guitar means, if anything. And then the majority of the 2 years when I was living in Los Angeles, where this album was recorded. And a lot of the songs, like Rabbit Hole, deal with these kinds of questions of like, these sort of like more existential questions of like, what am I doing? Like, what is the, like, how feeling that you're supposed to act a certain way or be a certain way, or like feel happy when you actually are like suffering from depression because you like maybe in one thing. Yeah. So so yeah, a lot of the album kind of touches on themes adjacent to anxiety and depression, and existential questioning.
Yeah, I mean, I listened to I Work a dozen times the other day, and the lyrics are powerful. I mean, I'm not someone who pays a lot of attention to lyrics, but there's a couple songs on here where you're really just into it, and it's clear you're singing from a deep place.
Thank you.
So you have a very unusual approach to the guitar and to your vocals. Can you talk a little about that? Because there's some videos I was watching of you where you're hitting the guitar like with a whammy bar or something like that. So
that's probably I have a spoon that I use. I got that spoon. I did this amazing residency in the Somerville neighborhood of Boston in 2018 called the Coincidence Festival. And on the last day, the like main kind of artist in residence, Joachim Eckel, gave us all these silver or golden spoons as this sort of like symbolic gesture. And I immediately used it in our farewell concert to like hit my guitar, which he loved. And I had seen, I studied jazz guitar in college, but kind of like starting from my sophomore year on, I just got more and more deep into experimental guitar and free improvisation and sort of like playing the instrument in interesting ways. Not that I only like on this. I don't know if the spoon makes it on this record. Actually, I got the spoon after this record, so the spoon is not on what.
Well, tell us about you. You said you have a background in jazz guitar, so
yes.
Explain the gap from jazz guitar studies to what we're listening to tonight.
I mean, so I grew up. Growing up, I was mostly listening to rock music, and kind of made the transition, or like started listening to jazz like very late into high school, kind of at the behest and encouragement of my guitar teacher, who said that like he was like, because I was starting to get into improvisation and the blues, and he was like, yeah, but if you want to go like really heavy into like improv stuff, like, here's some jazz, and like let's try transcribing Miles Davis's solo on So What. And I knew I wanted to go to college for music, so it just sort of seemed like going to college for jazz guitar was like the thing you did. So I got interested in jazz and I did that, but then kind of the more I was in school, the more it became apparent that I just wasn't super cut out for standards and bebop and stuff like that. Not that it's kind of fun to play standards now.
But there's nothing standard about this record.
No, absolutely not. So like my perspective started changing as I was sort of re-embracing my roots in rock, but coming at it from people introducing me to Sonny Sharrock and John Zorn Naked City and like the other works of Bill Frisell and Nels Cline and like these kind of people who were like jazz trained people, but were using rock as part of that vocabulary to various degrees of gnarliness. And then through then, like discovering things like the Boredoms. And then as soon as I graduated from college, I just had this summer where I discovered hilariously Primus for the first time.
Oh, yeah.
And I got into the Talking Heads for the first time, and Mr. Bungle. And that was and that combined with my previous fandom of like Deerhoof, was sort of like the magic recipe for kind of getting my brain started on the tracks that Throwaway went down.
All right, well, let's give another song a listen. Let's listen to Exotic Bird. Anything you want to say about setting this one up?
This one I wrote, it was, I think, actually the first song I wrote after I moved to Los Angeles. I remember very clearly where I was when I wrote it because I was sitting on my mattress, which didn't have any kind of frame, on a floor in December right after I moved there. And it was like a Friday or a Saturday night. And I didn't have any plans and I didn't really know that many people yet. And the very few people I did know were busy. So I was just sort of feeling in that like down place of having moved to somewhere new, and feeling very lonely about that. And so I just wrote the most self-indulgent song possible, semi-wryly, with the kind of intent to change the lyrics later. And I tried to change the lyrics several times. And it just never, like, when I showed it to other people, they were like, why are you changing these lyrics? These are great. Don't change those. And I was like, you're right. So the second verse was added later, but everything else was just the product of like me feeling sorry for myself on a December night shortly after moving to Los Angeles.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's take a listen to Exotic Bird.
Great.
I don't know how you can sing.
It sort of just happened. Like I don't know. I'm not so. I mean, I did some voice lessons in like middle school, and I was like in chorus and stuff in middle school, but I didn't like. I'm not really trained. So when I first started doing throwaway tours, like it was really just literally evolving that muscle on tour. Like the first proper throwaway tour I did, I almost lost my voice, and it was really freaky, and I had to learn that like the secret to me getting through that tour was to have straight whiskey before the gig and licorice tea after the gig. um, but yeah, it's just entirely been a muscle that has grown from use, which is crazy and weird. And maybe I knew a little bit how to grow it because I took those vocal lessons when I was 12.
What I love about the record is you're completely free. It's like you are not trying to please anyone. You're just doing this because you think it's awesome. It's an expression of who you are, and you're completely uninhibited. And I really appreciate that, especially the times where you make it sound like you can't keep time. Like you have a jazz guitar degree, but there are times when like the way they're just losing time is just another way of like audibly vomiting or something, you know. Like I'm so
Totally.
something that I just need to get this out of my system, and it expresses itself in ways that are very unexpected to me.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Yeah, so can you talk a little bit about how your process of writing? Like you talked about why you've written what you've written, but these are not simple songs, and even the ones that sound simple are pretty brutal. So what are you doing?
um, this is probably not surprising, but it's almost always guitar first. um, yeah, typically what I'll do is kind of like come up with riffs and like, I mean, my process has changed in the last like 2 or 3 years. Like there were some throwaway songs like I Work was pretty much just one sitting, like one and done. Like words, lyrics, everything, like great. Um, but like Mule was the first song. The Brilliant Society of the Illustrious Mule was the first song where like, I had multiple sessions of like me playing that riff on my guitar, and I just could not come up with a melody for that. And it was really, really hard and really grueling, but I was like, I really like this riff. I feel like it has potential. But I just didn't know what to do with it for a long, long time. And that was like the first of a trend that is now occurring where it's almost like I have these riffs and then I try to hear where they go from one another. But then it's like, later I'll visit everything and it's kind of just like constructing a building out of Legos, or it's sort of like, okay, like this makes sense next to here, and like this transition is more interesting if I take a beat out of here. And even like after I bring it to the drummer and it's sort of like, this is what I'm thinking, it might still change pretty drastically. Or like that'll give me like kind of new ideas about like order or like what something needs, or like where to yank beats out of or add beats or stuff like that. Like there's almost this self-imposed pressure of like, this is in 4/4, lame. Like,
so are you starting with like words? I mean, you said the songs start on guitar, but
no, words are almost always last. There's a new song, like a new one that we have not played live yet. that is incredibly notable because it was words first, or melody and words first, kind of in one go. And then I kind of had to like do something I almost never do in my process, which was to write a song around this nugget that I loved. And then I was like, oh God, what can the guitar do under this? It's like, okay, now I have this. Now, how do I build into and out of this thing? Oh no. It was so different from a normal process that I kind of panicked a bit. Yeah, words are almost always last. So, like, I kind of come up with the words. Like, I find that, like, once I have the guitar and once I have an idea of the melody, I kind of just start, like, stream of consciousness babbling, and kind of start, like, landing on maybe an idea or a theme, and then, like, jump on that, and kind of, like, let it go. And then, you know, might go back later and be like, I don't actually like this verse, or like this turn of phrase could be better, but yeah.
So did the music always, did you always envision just drums and guitar? Was that part of the vision, or is that just how it ended up, or what?
Well, initially it was a solo guitar project. And then I did 2 shows like that, and then it became, I played this improvising trio with the first Throwaway drummer, this amazing drummer named Nicole Patrick, who has since moved to New York and is doing awesome things. And I played with Nicole on this like improvised set, and actually we got into this groove where I was like hitting my bass string with like the arm of my sunglasses, and she was just like going really heavy, and I was like, oh, this is what Throwaway should be now. And so we started doing gigs together, and a lot of the initial kind of drum ideas and patterns, like for I Work and for the Revenge Society, are from Nicole. She's kind of the originator of a lot of these ideas. So,
you know, I can't even remember how I came across your music. I think it was on YouTube. I think I just, you know, went on the rabbit hole. No pun intended there. But yeah, just the YouTube wormhole where you're clicking like, oh, that's interesting. And then I saw this woman with a paper bag on her head. And I was like, all right. So, yeah, let's listen to Julep.
yeah.
All right. Cool.
On that note.
Yeah, exactly.
Can we talk about this again? Am I such a sorry friend for Jula? Dear Jula, sticky sweet, erase the scar. Have I said this all before? For Jula, dear Jula. julep near the gentleman. And the julep rained down.
That's intense.
I hadn't listened to that end part on headphones yet, I don't think. So the high guitar bit was sort of like, oh, ow.
You might want to talk to the person who mixed and mastered the album.
Yeah. No, it's great. Actually, like Lizzie Erickson, the producer of this album, and I mean, she recorded it, she mastered it, like she did everything on that side. Yeah, this album would not sound a tenth as good without her. Like, it's definitely like, sure, I wrote the songs, but like with anyone else, it's like all the like genius little strokes that I think make this album sound really like sharp and memorable were her master strokes.
Yeah, well, I think you had something to do with that too. I mean, I love the riff on that song. It's just such a fun melodic piece of music. It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, so, can you tell a little bit about the Throwaway universe? It's kind of its own thing, right?
I can't tell too much. Huh. Yeah. So what I will say, the there is a character. Her name is also Throwaway. She is a lady with a paper bag for her head, and she just sort of exists in this separate but very real kind of alternate reality that's only accessible through various screens, the internet, live visuals, things like that. But she, the reality of her within that world, and kind of the mystery therein, is something that I personally find very intriguing. So yeah, that's about all I can reveal, I think.
Okay.
About the Throwaway universe.
Is there any influence on the songwriting in terms of the universe, or is it more of a performance aspect?
A little bit of both. I definitely think it has kept me from being too tart or trite with lyrics. Like, I definitely have in my notebook a number of very, very self-indulgent, kind of syrupy, like, why kind of songs that are just, it's like, yeah, there's no place for these.
Right.
Nor, I think, does anyone want to hear those songs. They're very therapeutic to get out. But then it's like, okay, no one needs my, like, overindulgent, like, whatever songs.
Well, speaking of therapeutic and cathartic music, let's listen to I Work.
Okay.
That'll be the closer for the night. But yeah, this song is unbelievable.
Thank
I
you.
love it. I love the performance. I love the composition. I just love everything about it. I think you did a great job on it. So
thank you so much. I would be remiss not to just add that this song is coming out as a single on Thursday, with a completely amazing and brilliant animated video by Ben Willis. So everyone should look forward to that, because it's real good.
right on.
It's real good.
Cool. All right, so let's check it out.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. You animals, you don't know me, but you're in winter breaks or cashmere ski mask. You've got someone to tuck you into bed, all slick and sound with your ones and tens and fives and ones and tens. I'm dead again, thank God it was just a dream, cause I'm an adult, and I do adult things like read 17th century poetry. You can have your friends and all, I don't give a fuck what you think. One day you'll see this shit belongs to me, cause I work. I work. What do you do? You see, it's a state-of-the-art state of mind. Join me, it's fun. We'll have playtime together. Except now, you asshole, we're too serious for that now. Toys are just for children, screws and hammers are for me, cause I work. I work. I work. I work. What?
So great. Man,
Thank you.
that song's awesome. Seriously.
Thanks so much.
All right, so the album is called What? Or
Yes.
how would you say it?
I love that it's completely up to personal interpretation. However you want to say what, if it's what or what or what or whatever, entirely up to you.
Cool. And it is available at the URL at the bottom of the screen, therealthrowaway.bandcamp.com.
Yep.
And the album just came out a few days ago, right?
It is coming out technically on Friday.
Oh, this Friday, right on.
Yeah.
And you've got CDs, like physical CDs.
We have physical CDs. We're about to go on a pretty extensive tour. So if you live on the East Coast or in a couple select cities in California or Phoenix,
Are you coming to Phoenix?
We're coming to Phoenix. Oh, that's right. You're in Phoenix. Yeah, we're coming to Phoenix.
What?
Yeah.
When?
Probably August 25th. That might change. But probably August 25th.
So cool. Wow. I was actually thinking of asking you if I could bring you here, but you're already coming.
We're already coming. I'm friends with Ryan Avery, and he's awesome. And I've been really wanting him to set me up a show in Phoenix for a long, long time. And it's finally working out, which is very exciting.
Well, August is a beautiful time to come to Arizona. Bring your jacket. It's going to be like 112 degrees this weekend. So.
Great. Fantastic. There are many times where I'm glad that I moved back to Detroit, and hearing sentences like that is one of them.
All right, cool. Well, Kirsten, thank you so much for joining me tonight, and I really appreciate you giving your time, and thanks for your patience with all the technical stuff. But
yeah, no,
super
thank
glad
you.
we got to do this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, of course. And for people watching, please check out Throwaway on Bandcamp. Just buy the album.
Facebook and Instagram. We have all the things.
Yeah, all the typical stuff. But buy the album. Buy it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Buy it.
All right, cool. Thanks, everyone.